Who wants to actually cook in this heat? And you know what? It's just going to get hotter. Not actually me, but this will totally be me because I am one of those people that once I get hot, I stay hot and it drives me bonkers. So, for the next couple weeks, we are going to focus on meal plans that are low heat, meaning that we are going to use options other than our oven. Because when you heat up the oven, you're just going to make the house so hot. So we're going to use some grilling, some air fryer, some toaster oven, some stovetop, super easy stuff. And we're going to do it on a really low budget. In fact, this week we are going to do it for only $60. So let's take a look. This week we are going to do 6 dinners for $60. So if you have a bigger family of maybe like 5 or 6 people, this will totally work for you. If you have a smaller family and maybe only 3 or 4 people, you can totally do this and you will have plenty of leftovers for lunch. And we've done some nice little twists on some classic dishes. So let's get into our shopping list. This week we shopped at the Super Walmart in Mesa, Arizona, and our total came out to $58.38. Now we are going to need some basic condiments, and I'm assuming that you probably already have them. I'm talking about mayonnaise, mustard, white sugar, vinegar. It can be any kind. And hopefully you have a couple chicken bouillon cubes because we've had that on the menu multiple times. And honestly, you only need 1 or 2 of them. And then, of course, whatever your preferred cooking oil is and your favorite seasonings. So as you can see, it's not a huge list, but there are some items on here that you may already have at home. Things like white rice, breadcrumbs, barbecue sauce. You may already have those, and that'll get your total even lower. So let's start getting into what the daily meals are. Now, normally this would fall on a Sunday for me because that's kind of the start of my meal planning week. So I usually try to do a dish where I can pre-cook other things as well. So we're going to do a simple barbecued chicken on the grill. And I'm showing here that you're only going to use about 1/3 of a pack for this meal. But in reality, I would go ahead and grill up the entire family size pack of chicken. Now, I would only put the barbecue sauce on 3 of the chicken breasts, and we're going to slice those chicken breasts in half. So you're going to have a total of 6 pieces. So what I would do is go ahead, put all the chicken in a bowl, drizzle it with some oil, and then season it with something basic, like maybe salt, pepper. If you really like garlic, you could add that in, but we just want basic. And then you're going to grill it. Now, you're going to take some of those for tonight, and we're going to add barbecue sauce to it. So that'll be tonight's dinner. But the rest of the chicken, we're going to go ahead and cook because the grill's already hot. We already did all the work. So let's go ahead and pre-cook all the chicken for the rest of our meals. And then you just go ahead and package them up, and we're going to save a ton of time and effort later on because we can just pull those out and add them to our other meals, and we don't have to necessarily heat up again. So that's a super easy one. For the succotash part, I know some people are not big lima bean fans, and that's totally fine. You can actually completely omit the lima beans and just do it more of like a sauteed corn. Totally fine. And then for the potato chips, this is actually one of my favorite things. You're just going to make sure that you slice those potatoes really, really thin. If you have a mandolin, that's fine. I just do it with a regular knife. And then same concept. We're going to drizzle it with some oil. We're going to put on some seasoning. And this is where you can get really fun. You could add some ranch seasoning and be kind of like a sour cream and onion. You could, I actually have a French fry seasoning that I use sometimes that's really yummy. Any seasoning you like, you could totally mix this up, and then you make your own homemade potato chips. And I warn you though, I put on here 3 potatoes because that's how much my air fryer will typically take. But I've also been known to do this in batches because they're so good and everybody just eats a ton of them. So you can do that too. For our second meal, we're going to do some tropical tacos. Yes, it's tacos and everybody does tacos, but we're going to do tacos with a little bit of twist. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some basic coleslaw, okay? And if you've ever seen the price of coleslaw dressing, it's crazy expensive, and I can't figure out what's in it to make it so expensive because it's like $4 a bottle, but it doesn't cost that much to make it. So we're going to make our own. This is where you're going to need some mayo, some white sugar, some vinegar, and the coleslaw. Now, typically we would use lemon juice or any kind of citrusy juice, but we're going to use some pineapple juice. So when you get your little can, this is not the big 20-ounce can, it's just the little 8-ounce can. What I do is I drain it and I save all the juice to one side, and we're just going to use like a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of the pineapple juice to make our to make our coleslaw dressing. So you mix it up in a bowl until it's nice and smooth. Pour it onto your coleslaw mix, which you don't have to do coleslaw mix. You can easily just buy a cabbage. But it's summertime and I don't really want to chop up a whole head of cabbage. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to get the big old bag. And then just mix it all up, put it in a container, and put it in your fridge. Usually at least an hour to kind of have it all soak in. Honestly, I like it overnight. So I usually do this the night before because it's super easy. Then we're going to save our pineapple because we're going to cook our taco meat, and this ground turkey already had taco seasoning in it, so that saves us a little bit of expense, and it wasn't more expensive than the non-seasoned kind. So we're just going to cook that up, and then we're also going to do yellow rice. This is a bigger bag. I think it's 10 ounces, and honestly, it makes a ton of rice, so you would have a lot left over. Now, I just do it where I put my tortilla, I put my taco meat, and then I top it with my coleslaw and then some pineapple. Then you can also add like lettuce and tomato and stuff like that. This is nice for those that are dairy free because you don't really need cheese on this type of taco, but my husband has been known to put some cheese on there, so that's totally up to you. And, if you follow my Facebook page, you'll see that a lot of times not everybody wants a taco. Well, you can easily turn this into a taco salad, into nachos, any of that. Those all work. For our next meal, we're going to do a grilled chicken Caesar wrap. And this is where I said if you go ahead and grill ahead of time, then all you have to do is really just slice the grilled chicken up. And you can do it just like in little tiny chunks, or you could do it like in nice thin slices, either way. And then really all we're doing here is we're just assembling. We're not even cooking this night. This is a no cook night. Now, chicken, like Caesar dressing can get a little strong. So I like to pair it with something sweet. So that's why we're going to do strawberries as kind of our side dish, because then you got that really strong flavor and then you got the strawberries so it doesn't like overwhelm it. Now, to make the actual salad wraps, I'm going to go super easy. I'm going to go ahead and put my chopped lettuce and some Parmesan cheese and some dressing all in a big bowl and mix it up. And then I can just portion it out between the wraps. But if you like everything separated, you could do, the layer of lettuce, a little bit of Parmesan, some chicken, and then, you know what I mean? You could do it like individual style, especially if somebody doesn't necessarily like Caesar dressing. You can easily sub this out for any dressing that you like. And if you wanted to add a little bit more flavor to your chicken, you could actually marinate it in like Italian dressing before you grill it, and that'll give you some extra flavor there. But honestly, this is just a base and you can totally make it your own. But I don't think everybody knows about the combining, a strong flavor with a sweet flavor, and my kids love that. Now, what is more summertime than burgers? I always kind of like to throw in a little oddball there. So instead of like ground turkey or ground beef burgers, we're going to do tuna burgers. But before you get like, oh, maybe you don't like tuna, totally fine. You can easily switch this out to be canned chicken and do the same thing. So don't write it off just because it's tuna. Easily switch that part out. But we're basically going to make like a tuna cake or a chicken cake where you take your tuna, you're going to take your mayo, your mustard, and your breadcrumbs, and you're just going to make it kind of like a meatloaf. You just mix it all up in a bowl, and then you make some patties. Now, typically, I like to make 6 patties, but you could easily make 8 smaller patties. That's up to you. And then we're just going to basically fry this in oil on the stovetop, and it's super quick. Now, we are going to do some home-style fries, so before you even get the burger started, I would go ahead, clean and wash your potatoes. I keep the skin on because I like it that way, but that's up to you. And then I just do nice wedges where like you cut it in half and then you cut it in wedges, usually 8 to 10 pieces per potato. And then same thing that we did with the potato chips, we're going to do it with the fries. We're going to drizzle them with oil, Usually I'm going to add my french fry seasoning and then we just put them in the air fryer. Now, if you don't have an air fryer, you could do this in like a toaster oven or your regular oven, but that's totally up to you. And I think I'm one of the last people on the planet to get an air fryer because I just got one a couple months ago. But, there's always options there. And then this is really, really simple. And we usually do some of the lettuce, a couple slices of tomato, and then avocado. If you haven't tried avocado on a tuna burger, it's so good. It like adds that extra creaminess. And then once again, you don't have to add cheese on here if you don't want, because I know a lot of people had said they were, lactose intolerant or dairy free. So this is a great option there. Now, you really can't get more no or low heat than a crock pot. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make a chicken tetrazzini pasta. And we're actually going to use fully cooked chicken in this, but you can adjust this if you haven't already pre grilled your chicken. So, we're going to toss that chicken and some canned mushrooms. I do drain the mushrooms, but that's up to you. Put them at the bottom of your crock pot. Then, in a bowl, we're going to combine 2 cups of hot water, a couple of chicken bouillon cubes. That's really up to you. I usually typically use 1, but if you like a really stronger flavor, you could easily go with 2 or 3 bouillon cubes. And then we're going to add cream of mushroom soup. If this is a little too much mushrooms from you, you can easily switch out the can of mushrooms and the type of cream soup to anything else you want. You could do like there's cream of celery, there's cream of potato, there's cream of chicken, totally fine. And then once we've got that big bowl of the soup and the water mixed together, we're going to pour it over our chicken and our mushrooms, and then we're just going to let that cook. It really only takes about 4 hours because it's already technically pre-cooked, but your house is going to smell amazing. And what you're going to do about an hour before you want to eat, we're going to add a cup of milk, and we're going to stir it, and then we're going to let it cook for another hour. This is going to make that nice creamy sauce. And then about 20 minutes before you want to have dinner, all you got to do is boil some spaghetti noodles and drain them. And then now I like to do it where I just go ahead and when I drain the spaghetti noodles, I just dump them right in the crock pot, stir it all up to where it's all mixed together, but you can easily serve it separate. And then we're just going to do an easy side of frozen peas. I just throw these in the microwave and then they're done. Now my kids like them plain, but you could easily add some butter, maybe some Parmesan cheese, anything like that. And we usually serve this with like either garlic or cheesy bread or like butter bread. And if you have any leftover hamburger buns from when we did the tuna melt, maybe you only did 6 burgers instead of 8, you could easily do this for garlic bread. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this one before, but this is so yummy. It is basically pepperoni pizza rice. Yeah, you heard that right. So this is one of those one pot meals. I make it in a big skillet. It's probably about like 12 inches across. I mean, it's a big skillet. And so really all you're going to do is you're going to add your water and your rice, and you're just going to cook rice like normal. But keep in mind, because it's going to be on a larger surface, it actually cooks a little quicker than it does in like a little saucepan. Once the rice is tender and it's cooked, then we are going to top it with our tomato sauce, our cheese, and pepperoni. And you can chop the pepperoni up into smaller bits or you can leave it whole. And then here's where it gets fun. Just like any kind of pizza, you can totally go to your fridge and use your leftovers. So if you want to add some chicken to this, maybe you have anything really left over, some green peppers, some onions, some mushrooms, add it all in there. Make it like a supreme pizza. Totally up to you. And then we're going to put the lid back on for like 5 minutes just to get it all nice and melty. And then you just scoop it out. It's so funny because it tastes exactly like pizza, but it like tricks your mouth because it's rice, but it's so yummy. I just love those flavors. Now, I did pick the tomato sauce that already has like the basil and the garlic in there, just because why buy extra seasoning if it's already included and it wasn't any different in price. Now, for this one, my kids actually love green beans, so I'm going to go with a really big can, but this meal easily serves 6 to 8 people. And once again, if you didn't have garlic bread the other night, you could easily do garlic bread with this if you kind of want that crunch in there because the rice is soft. So, lots of different ways that you can kind of change this up. And recipes to me are basically formulas. You just need like the the formula to cook it, and then you can mix and match any of the items in there. So super easy one, and the kids love this. So that is our menu. We're going to do 6 dinners for $60, plenty of leftovers. And then for those of you that don't necessarily eat breakfast and lunch, this is a nice way to get your grocery budget down. If you do eat breakfast and lunch, you can easily add in a carton of eggs, some cereal, some milk. You can do some easy stuff here. Or you can really focus on your pantry, your fridge, and your freezer, and maybe use up some of your items here. So whether you're kind of like extreme budgeting one week, whatever. But I just really like the idea of not heating up my whole house, even though casseroles and like sheet pan meals are really yummy and they're low cost. We just don't want to heat up the whole house. So anywho, if you want some more menus, some more meals, check out the website. I'm going to have a link below for everything. And then come check us out on Facebook. Just search LowDoughFamily. Lots and lots of stuff there. And don't forget to join the group because we do lots of questions and answers. And if you're stuck on meal planning, come check us out. So I hope y'all have a great week. Don't stay outside too long, especially if you're in one of the super hot areas. And I will see you next week. Bye.